Assalamu alaikum, and a very warm welcome to you all. Today we are going to embark on an incredible journey, a journey into the life of the greatest man who ever walked the earth, our beloved Prophet Muhammad's peace be upon him. His life is a complete guide for all of humanity. It is a story of truthfulness, compassion, and unwavering faith. From his early days as an orphan to becoming the final messenger of Allah, every moment of his life holds a lesson for us. He taught us kindness, honesty, and how to live with justice and mercy. To help us truly understand and connect with his beautiful seerah, I have a special resource to share with you. It is a comprehensive and beautifully designed video that brings the Prophet's life story to your fingertips, making it easy to understand and reflect upon. So, let's open our hearts and minds to learn from the greatest role model. Let's begin this blessed journey together. Let's get started. Linguistically, the word Arab means deserts and waste, barren land well-nigh waterless and treeless. Ever since the dawn of history, the Arabian Peninsula and its people have been called as such. The Arabian Peninsula is enclosed in the west by the Red Sea and Sinai, in the east by the Arabian Gulf, in the south by the Arabian Sea, which is an extension of the Indian Ocean, and in the north by Old Syria and part of Iraq. The area is estimated between 1 million and 1.25 million square miles. Thanks to its geographical position, the peninsula has always maintained great importance. Considering its internal setting, it is mostly deserts and sandy places, which has rendered it inaccessible to foreigners and invaders, and allowed its people complete liberty and independence through the ages, despite the presence of two neighboring great empires. Its external setting, on the other hand, caused it to be the center of the Old World and provided it with sea and land links with most nations at the time. Thanks to this strategic position, the Arabian Peninsula had become the center for trade, culture, religion, and art. Arab kinfolks have been divided according to lineage into 3 groups: perishing Arabs, the ancient Arabs, of whose history little is known, and of whom were Ad, Thamd, Tassam, Jadis, Emlak, and others. Pure Arabs, who originated from the progeny of Yarub bin Yashjub bin Qatan. They were also called Coctanian Arabs. Arabized Arabs, who originated from the progeny of Ishmael. They were also called Adnanian Arabs. The pure Arabs, the people of Qatan, originally lived in Yemen and comprised many tribes, 2 of which were very famous: Himyar, the most famous of whose septs were Zaid al-Jamhur, Kuda'a, and Sakasik. Kahlan, the most famous of whose septs were Hamdan, Anmar, Tai, Mudhij, Kinda, Lakam, Judam, Azd, Oz, Khazraj, and the descendants of Japhna, the kings of Old Syria. Kahlan, septs emigrated from Yemen to dwell in the different parts of the Arabian Peninsula prior to the Great Flood, Al-Arim of Marib Dam, due to the failure of trade under the Roman pressure, and domain on both sea and land trade routes following Roman occupation of Egypt and Syria. Naturally enough, the competition between Kahlan and Himyar led to the evacuation of the first and the settlement of the second in Yemen. The emigrating septs of Kahlan can be divided into 4 groups: Azd, who, under the leadership of Imran bin Amr Muzayq, wandered in Yemen, sent pioneers, and finally headed northwards. Details of their emigration can be summed up as follows: Thalaba bin Amr left his tribe Al-Azd for Hijaz and dwelt between Thalabiyah and Dikar. When he gained strength, he headed for Medina, where he stayed. Of his seed are Oz and Khazraj, sons of Haritha bin Thalaba. Haritha bin Amr, known as Kuza'a, wandered with his folks in Hijaz until they came to Maraz-Zaran. Later, they conquered the Haram and settled in Mecca after having driven away its people, the tribe of Yurhum. Imran bin Amr and his folks went to Oman, where they established the tribe of Azd, whose children inhabited Tahama and were known as Azd of Shanua. Jaffna bin Amr and his family, headed for Syria, where he settled and initiated the kingdom of Ghassan, who was so named after a spring of water. In Hijaz, where they stopped on their way to Syria.NBSP. Lakam and Judam, of whom was Nasr bin Rabia, father of Manadira, kings of Hira. Banu Tai, who also emigrated northwards to settle by the so-called Aja and Salma mountains, which were consequently named as Tai Mountains. Kinda, who dwelt in Bahrain but were expelled to Hadramaut and Najd, where they instituted a powerful government but not for long, for the whole tribe soon faded away. Another tribe of Himyar, known as Kuda, also left Yemen and dwelt in Samawa, semi-desert on the borders of Iraq. And NBSP, the Arabized Arabs go back in ancestry to their great-grandfather Abraham, from a town called Ar near Kufa, on the west bank of the Euphrates in Iraq. Excavations brought to light great details of the town, Abraham's family, and the prevalent religions and social circumstances. At NBSP, it is known that Abraham left Ar for Haran and then for Palestine, which he made headquarters for his message. He wandered all over the area. When he went to Egypt, the pharaoh tried to do evil to his wife Sarah, but all saved her, and the pharaoh's wicked scheme recoiled on him. He thus came to realize her strong attachment to all, and, in acknowledgement of her grace, the pharaoh rendered his daughter Hagar at Sarah's service, but Sarah gave Hagar to Abraham as a wife. And NBSP, Abraham returned to Palestine, where Hagar gave birth to Ishmael. Sarah became so jealous of Hagar that she forced Abraham to send Hagar and her baby away to a plantless valley on a small hill in Hijaz, by the sacred house, exposed to the wearing of floods coming right and left. He chose for them a place under a lofty tree above Zamzam, near the upper side of the mosque in Mecca, where neither people nor water was available, and went back to Palestine, leaving with his wife and baby a leather case with some dates and a pot of water. Not before long they ran out of both food and water, but thanks to Allah's favor water gushed forth to sustain them for some time. The whole story of Zamzam spring is already known to everybody. And NBSP, another Yemeni tribe, Jurhum II, came and lived in Mecca upon Hagar's permission, after being said to have lived in the valleys around Mecca. It is mentioned in the Sahih al-Bukhari that this tribe came to Mecca before Ishmael was a young man, while they had passed through that valley long before this event. And NBSP, Abraham used to go to Mecca every now and then to see his wife and son. The number of these journeys is still unknown, but authentic historical resources spoke of 4 ones. And NBSP, Al-H, the Sublime, stated in the Noble Quran that he had Abraham see, in his dream, that he slaughtered his son Ishmael, and therefore Abraham stood up to fulfill his order then. When they had both submitted themselves to the will of all, and he had laid him prostrate on his forehead, or on the side of his forehead for slaughtering, and we called out to him, O Abraham, you have fulfilled the dream, verily. Thus do we reward the muhsin good doers, who perform good deeds totally for Allah's sake only, without any show-off or to gain praise or fame, etc., and do them in accordance to Allah's orders. Verily, that indeed was a manifest trial, and we ransomed him with a great sacrifice, a ram. It is mentioned in the Genesis that Ishmael was 13 years older than his brother Isaac. The sequence of the story of the sacrifice of Ishmael shows that it really happened before Isaac's birth, and that Allah's promise to give Abraham another son, Isaac, came after narration of the whole story. And NBSP, this story spoke of one journey at least before Ishmael became a young man. Al-Bukhari, on the authority of Ibn Abbas, reported the other 3 journeys, a summary of which goes as follows. And NBSP, when Ishmael became a young man, he learned Arabic at the hand of the tribe of Jurhum, who loved him with great admiration and gave him one of their women as a wife soon after his mother died. Having wanted to see his wife and son again, Abraham came to Mecca after Ishmael's marriage, but he didn't find him at home. He asked Ishmael's wife about her husband and how they were doing. She complained of poverty, So he asked her to tell Ishmael to change his doorstep. Ishmael understood the message, divorced his wife, and got married to the daughter of Mudad bin Amr, chief of the tribe of Yurhum. And NBSB once more, Abraham came to see his son, but again didn't find him at home. He asked his new wife the same previous question, to which she thanked all. Abraham asked her to tell Ishmael to keep his doorstep, to keep her as wife, and went back to Palestine. And NBSP a third time, Abraham came to Mecca to find Ishmael sharpening an arrow under a lofty tree near Zamzam. The meeting, after a very long journey of separation, was very touching for a father so affectionate and a so dutiful and righteous son. This time, father and son built Al-Kaaba and raised its pillars. And Abraham, in compliance with Allah's commandment, called unto people to make pilgrimage to it. And NBSP, by the grace of all, Ishmael had 12 sons from the daughter of Mudad, whose names were Nabat, Kedar, Edbaal, Mebsham, Mishma, Duma, Mika, Hudud, Yetma, Yetur, Nafis, and Kidman, and who ultimately formed 12 tribes inhabiting Makkah and trading between Yemen, geographical Syria, and Egypt. Later on, these tribes spread all over, and even outside, the peninsula. All their tidings went into oblivion except for the descendants of Nabat and Kedar. And NBSP, the Nabatean sons of Nabat established a flourishing civilization in the north of Hijaz. They instituted a powerful government which spread out its domain over all neighboring tribes and made Petra their capital. Nobody dared challenge their authority until the Romans came and managed to eliminate their kingdom. After extensive research and painstaking investigation, Mr. Sulaiman an-Nadwi came to the conclusion that the Ghassanid kings, along with the Aus and Khazraj, were not likely to be Qatanians, but rather Nabateans. Descendants of Kedar, the son of Ishmael, lived long in Makkah, increasing in number. Of them issued Adnan and son Ma'ad, to whom Adnanian Arabs traced back their ancestry. Adnan is the 21st grandfather in the series of the prophetic ancestry. It was said that whenever Prophet Muhammad spoke of his ancestry, he would stop at Adnan and say, "Genealogists tell lies," and did not go farther than him. A group of scholars, however, favored the probability of going beyond Adnan, attaching no significance to the aforementioned prophetic hadith. They went on to say that there were exactly 40 fathers between Adnan and Abraham. And NBSB, Nizar, Ma'ad's only son, had 4 sons who branched out into 4 great tribes: Ayad, Anmar, Rabia, and Mudar. These last 2 sub-branched into several septs. Rabia fathered Asad, Anaza, Abdul Qais, and Wa'il's 2 sons, Bakr and Tal, Hanifa, and many others. And NBSP, Mudar tribes branched out into 2 great divisions: Qais Ailan bin Mudar and septs of Elias bin Mudar. Of Qais Ailan were the Banu Salim, Banu Hawazin, and Banu Ghatafan, of whom descended Abs, Zubian, Ashja, and Ghani bin Asur. Of Elias bin Mudar were Tamim bin Murrah, Hudhail bin Mudrika, Banu Asad bin Kuzaima, and septs of Kinana bin Kuzaima, of whom came Quraysh, the descendants of Far bin Malik bin An-Nadr bin Kinana. Quraysh branched out into various tribes, the most famous of whom were Juma, Sam, Adi, Makhzum, Tayyim, Zara, and the 3 septs of Qusay bin Kilab, Abdud-Dar bin Qusay, Asad bin Abdul Uzza bin Qusay, and Abdumanaf bin Qusay. And NBSP, Abdumanaf branched out into 4 tribes: Abd Shams, Nawfal, Muttalib, and Hashim. It is, however, from the family of Hashim that all selected Prophet Muhammad bin Abdullah bin Abdul Muttalib bin Hashim. Prophet Muhammad said, Allah selected Ishmael from the sons of Abraham, Kinana from the sons of Ishmael, Quraysh from the sons of Kinana, Hashim from the sons of Quraysh, and he selected me from the sons of Hashim. Al-Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib quoted the Messenger of all as saying, "All created mankind, and chose me from the best whereof. He chose the tribes and selected me from the best whereof, and he chose families and selected me from the best whereof. I am the very best in person and family. Having increased in number, children of Adnan, in pursuit of pastures and water, spread out over various parts of Arabia. NBSP, the tribe of Abdul Qais, together with some septs of Bakr bin Wa'il and Tamim, emigrated to Bahrain where they dwelt. NBSP, Banu Hanifa bin Saab, bin Ali bin Bakr, went to settle in Hijr, the capital of Yamama. All the tribes of Bakr bin Wa'il lived in an area of land which included Yamama, Bahrain, Saif Kazima, the seashore, the outer borders of Iraq, Abla and Hait. NBSP. Most of the tribe of Taghlib lived in the Euphrates area, while some of them lived with Bakr. NBSP. Banu Tamim lived in Basra semi-desert. Banu Salim lived in the vicinity of Medina, on the land stretching from Wadi al-Qura to Khaybar, onwards to the eastern mountains to Hara Thaqif, dwelt in Taif and Hawazin east of Makkah near Otaz on the road from Makkah to Basra. NBSP. Banu Asad lived on the land east of Taim and west of Kufa, while family of Tai lived between Banu Asad and Taim. They were 5-day walk far from Kufa. An NBSP, Zubian inhabited the plot of and between Taim and Hauran. An NBSP. Some septs of Kinana lived in Tahama, while septs of Quraysh dwelt in Makkah and its suburbs. Quraysh remained completely disunited until Qusay bin Kilab managed to rally their ranks on honorable terms, attaching major prominence to their status and importance. Tariq al-Umam al-Islamiyya 115-16.